Hi everybody. The community that I chose to do for this project is the community of Geneva, Ohio. That's where I currently live, so that's another little bit of a reason why I chose to do it, because I didn't grow up here. I grew up South County of where I am in Ashtabula County right now. So let's talk a little bit about the community of Geneva. We're going to talk about the economic, environmental, social, and political characteristics about the community first, real quick. We're just going to try to do it briefly here. So economic characteristics of Geneva are, we have a lot of small businesses. They bring in a lot of money for us. We also have a lot of wineries. We're really well known for our wineries here in Geneva, Ohio. We have major industries such as Geneva on the Lake Lodge, the Spire Institute, and a lot of just local mom and pop type shops that are all over the place here in Ashtabula. So let's jump again. We're just going to move through this kind of quickly over to environmental characteristics. So environmental characteristics, we have one big event that happens every year. It's called the Geneva Grape Jamboree. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it is a lot of fun. It's one of the biggest things that brings in a lot of money for our community. It's a great experience. If anybody's out in this neck of the woods at the end of September, we always have it, and hopefully we'll have it this year. So there's a lot of private organizations out here, but regardless, there's still a lot of strength in getting together out here to make sure there's a better benefit for the community. That's something I really admire about the community and the environmental characteristics. A social problem that I want to point out, though, that falls under environmental characteristics is the lack of diversity. That's a big one. So let me move on to the social characteristics. Let's talk about that a little. A large majority of Geneva, Ohio, is just Caucasian individuals. We have a small percent of Hispanic, Black, or any other ethnicity in the city of Geneva. So we have churches. We've got about 10 churches in the whole city. We have a lot of beautiful landscapes that have like playgrounds and stuff like that. We try to still keep the country aspects of nature in Geneva rather than just the city aspect. So I took some time to really travel around back when we did this project initially, and there was just a lot of really great things. And I noticed we have some nice looking houses, we have some not nice looking houses. It's just what I expect to be kind of like any neighborhood, where there's a lot of good, but there's still a little bit of bad. So for social, like I said, the social characteristics is that, again, it falls back to the fact that we really are good at coming together as a community. There's just a lot of things that I think still should improve when it comes to social aspects, especially that Grape Jamboree. I can't tell you how much I think people come together because of big events like that. It's a huge thing to me. Political characteristics, we will jump on just quickly. Well, we don't have great roads. We don't have great sidewalks. As far as political representation, we're a strong Republican community. Doesn't mean that we don't have Democrats as well, of course, but we're strongly Republican here in Geneva. And we have a Star, Beacon, and Gazette newspapers, which are countywide newspapers, but that's primarily what we use here in Geneva. So I'm going to try to get this moving along. I'm going to try to keep within the time frame. That wraps up a little bit about political characteristics. I want to move on really quick now to the person that I did the interview for, or that I interviewed, I should say. She is somebody who represents it's an organization that runs out of the place where I work that is called Family and Children First Council. Now, Family and Children First Council is a agency that kind of first started with Governor Mike DeWine. He's the one who kind of really got it up and running, and his wife currently runs it. The woman I interviewed, her name is Alice Griffith, and she has been doing her job there for 2 years. She's a coordinator and a facilitator for the services that they provide. So Family and Children First Council is an organization that basically allows families to have an opportunity to be connected to all of the resources they have currently been connected to, and make sure they're getting all the best help that they can for risk of losing their children from the home. That's a big one. It's not just for any families, it's for families that have a risk of the children being removed because of it not being good structure, of it not being a good environment, of a variety of reasons. Alice's job specifically is to make sure that these children and these families try to stay together and that they are doing everything in their power to make sure that they're utilizing services that they are accessible, that they have accessible to them. And that's a big one. So in a nutshell, again, I'm trying to be careful of time here. In a nutshell, the agency is a huge asset to our community, because in Ashtabula County alone and in Geneva, there are families out here that really are struggling and that really do have a risk of removal from the home. And we're trying so hard to keep families together and to avoid that. And I think what Alice does is so important for the community of Geneva. It's so important for the community of just Ashtabula County in general. We're a large county and we need a lot of that advocacy. So that kind of wraps up what I have to share with you guys. My reflection of all of this is that I think it was very beneficial to learn these things about a community and to maybe try to identify things about one community that might be very similar in the next, because I believe that with the learning about the macro environment, it's important to remember that everywhere is going to be different and there's going to be unique things about that community that may or may not pose to be a threat to the community or a threat to what you do as a social worker. And I think it's so important to be able to identify that and to be able to see that what you learn about a community is beneficial. And I think as social workers, no matter where we end up working, I think that we need to be very well aware of what our community has for assets and what things they don't, even if it's not the community that you live in. I think it's important. So, okay, I think that's all I've got, and I hope you all are staying safe and healthy, and I hope you have a wonderful year. Thank you.